All right. So next time...
Now, pay attention to the nuggets that we drop out there in Twitter.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let me write this down.
Oh, yeah, we should fix that last line, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, join us in, I don't know, join us in the summer.
In some weeks.
All right. You see that next time?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
That's good. Yeah. No, stay tuned, blah, blah, blah. Join the conversation, talk to us, give us ideas. Yeah.
Cool.
Too many things to keep track of.
I know. And I just keep suggesting adding more just so I can give myself another headache. All right. Oh, what the? It's like your emails, Dan.
Oh, no, it did? No, it didn't. Oh.
There we go. Wait, there. That should do it.
Oh, I'm in editing mode. That's why.
Oh, yeah. It looked fine. Yeah, because while I was editing it looked fine. All right. Coming up on this episode of Linux User Space, we get federated, we watch a Mozilla, we've been working 9 to 5, and we toot on the go with our app. Hey, and welcome to the Season 1 finale of Linux User Space. I'm Leo.
And I'm Dan.
And that's it.
Yeah. So, Leo, I hear you've been doing a little Git.
As little as I possibly can. Git is not native to my brain, so I've been trying my best to figure it out. And the way that I've been doing that is Gitea. So I'd heard about Gitea a long time ago. I don't know. It's been around for a good while.
Yeah.
But I never spent the time to actually set it up. So a few weeks ago, I decided it's time to bite the bullet. I was writing a backup script anyway, and I needed a way to, I don't know, remember how dumb I was 3 versions ago.
Yeah, you want some version control.
Exactly. Yeah, it wasn't version control. It was dumb control. This way I can roll back or roll forward or whatever I needed to do.
Yeah.
That was really the whole reason. I could have done this in multiple files, but I figured why torture myself with that when I could torture myself with Git.
Yeah. Well, it's when you get used to it, it's a much easier way to have some versions, if you will, without saving a whole bunch of files with, Rev 1, Rev 2, Rev 3, and then it just gets out of control, and you're like, which one of those did I really want? Yeah, so you can kind of get some visual looks at what you were doing. So Git itself is very handy for that. Now, I have not messed with Gitea at all. I've used GitLab, GitHub, Fabricator. I feel like there's something else I'm missing. But I've messed with all of them, but never Gitea. So I don't know. Is it pretty good? Seem pretty good?
It looks like, and I'm probably getting this wrong because I'm really not that familiar with Git, but it looks like GitHub to me.
Okay.
The website that you log into, when you go into a repository, you can do all of the same stuff that you can do. You can download the code. You can, I guess if you have credential, you can make edits to it or whatever you want to do. And the Git facilities, like actually using Git from the command line.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, every GitHub how-to works perfectly for Gitea. There's nothing I need to change at all outside of the address of what I'm trying to get to.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as all that goes, I like it a lot because it's mine.
Yes.
That I think is my most favorite feature of all of this.
Well, it makes total sense. I have a GitLab instance on my NAS. It's I have free NAS or true NAS now. So it runs in a jail. It is GitLab. And I don't put a lot there, but I have some things that I don't want in a public repository someplace.
Aha.
And so that's where I push those. I have like my Dotfiles there and things like that.
That's a good idea. Actually, this is something that I've been needing to do for a while. I don't do a lot of customization like that, but for the one or two little things that I do, that's a really good way to do that, actually. I don't know why I didn't think about doing that before. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so there's actually a tool for that. It's called Yet Another Dot Manager, YATM.
Oh my God, I'll never remember because everything is yet another something.
Yeah, it uses the same Git format, only you put YADM in front of that. And so, and then you can push it to your repository. Yeah, so I push some of my dot files there, just to keep my configurations in case everything blew up.
Right. Yeah, I guess I skirt around that requirement by just backing everything up. That's pretty much what I do now.
That works too. And then you could pull, depending on your backup scheme, you can pull those out of there. But this gives you yet another place to put, your files. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I seem to plaster them all over the place. But they do say if you don't have it in 3 places, then it doesn't exist. So I've met that requirement.
Yep. Backups equals backups minus 1. So you got to have your not backup, your actual live stuff, then your backup, but that one doesn't count.
Right.
And then you have another backup. So 3 places. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So this is, yes, you've given me another project. I think that's probably what I'm going to do next. I need to write a couple of more scripts. So the backup script was actually kind of cool, and it was more just for me to see if I could make an interactive script that is not useless.
Yeah.
It'll back up your whole home folder. It'll drop it into a tar.gz, or well, actually, you can choose what you back it up as, and it works. It actually works. I was very skeptical of my own scripting ability when it came to that, and after about 7,000 revisions, it works.
Well, that's how you learn. That's the other thing. You can just keep building on it and just keep learning and keep tinkering and make improvements.
Yeah, I plan on it, and see, the whole thing though was you were talking about the revisions, and I totally did that. I was like 8 files deep, and I was like, "There's got to be a better way." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, there is a better way. It was invented forever ago. It's called Git." And so Git doesn't actually know about quite a few of the revisions that I've gone through. That makes me feel better about myself because I go back in there, I go look at those revisions. It's like, that's not as many as I know that there are. But, if I were to ever show this to anybody, then, they would be none the wiser. They wouldn't know. It's fine.
It's all good.
And if I ever clone it to another, like a public Git repo or something like that, then, no one will ever know all of the things that I have totally blown up in the process of making this work.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds like a fun project, and I'm going to have to now try Gitea myself so that I can, at least compare it to the other tools that I have used.
One of the things that I know that Gitea does that GitLab does not is it is nice to you as far as resources go. I'm running my Gitea instance on a Pi 3.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
And I made a tweet about it. I tweeted about it. I say that wrong all the time. I swear I sound like I'm 100 years old, and I just figured out what Twitter was yesterday. I made a tweet. Yeah. But so I tweeted about this thing a while back, and it was using like 250 megs, including the operating system.
Oh, wow.
So, and this is Ubuntu. I'm running it on Ubuntu, running Gitea in Snap, and it was using maybe 250, 300 megabytes of total memory.
That's fantastic.
And I know GitLab is like, hey, you better carve out a bunch of disk space and like 4 gigs of RAM, buddy.
Yeah, it is heavy. And the other thing about it, there's a lot of features that I'm not using. Like you can set up continuous integration and development and all that, runners. Right. And I'm not even, no, I don't need any of that. I just need a place to host my code, for my personal code. Like if I wanted to do some of that stuff, I'd go do it on GitHub or an actual GitLab someplace. Not my own instance.
Yeah, so if you do want to do just basic Git, I think Gitea is the answer for you. You can free up some of that RAM and, I don't know, run something else with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you can run something on the Fediverse.
Well, maybe.
Put that RAM to good use.
Right. So, Leo, we've already been federated a little bit, but we took it another step, and now we're federating something else.
We're federating the Federation, something like
We've
that.
joined it. We're in it. Like, we're part of the Federation of the Federations.
Oh, man. Do we get a free spaceship with that? Because I feel like we should.
I hope so.
It's coming in the mail. It'll be here.
So what we're talking about is Mastodon. And, we've joined Mastodon, and now we're on that social network, which, Mastodon is an open source social network, and I would compare it to Twitter in itself. Like Matrix, it's decentralized, federated platform. You have toots, not tweets.
There it is.
That's pretty awesome. Everybody loves toots. and you boost the toots. You don't retweet them. So
I
that's
actually
pretty cool.
enjoy the boost. The boost is cool.
Not toot?
I'm still trying to make peace with toots.
Okay. Yeah, well, you got to blow your horn, toot your horn. I don't know. I guess that's what you're doing.
Well, it is. I know it's tooting your horn. I know that's what that's about.
That's not where your 13-year-old brain goes, is it?
No.
That's
of course
cool.
not.
So just to recap, though, a Federation example that we used before was email. And the same thing applies here. You have instances that will join up into the Federation, and they can then get other toots from other instances, and then everybody can subscribe.
For instance, I'm on c.im. Dan, you're on
Mastodon.technology.
Yet we can both toot each other.
Yep.
And send messages. We can both boost the same things. They all show up in our own local thingamajigs, but yet we're on two separate, and I don't think I've made peace with the word instance. I know what it means, but
yeah.
I don't like it. Like, it's the thing that plugs you into the Fediverse, but I don't know if it, I don't know. I just don't like the word for some reason.
It's your own little island, I guess. Maybe that's the way to look at it. It's like a little island, and you got these little bridges that sometimes connect you, and we'll get to that in a minute. Some of them are connected, not bridges in the sense like Matrix, not those bridges, but like, I don't know, just little connecting pieces connect all your islands.
In the example, there's an island and a physical bridge, and that's how you get back and forth, but it's not the same as the Matrix bridge, which will take, I guess, I just realized there was an iMessage bridge to Matrix.
Yeah,
so you can take your Apple encrypted messages and send them to Matrix and back.
That's pretty cool.
Which I guess it would be encrypted both ways, but it would.
I don't know how that works.
That's
I don't
just
know.
more questions. I'm going to have to figure that out.
So back to Mastodon. It's, like I said, like Twitter, little mini micro blog type posts. The posts are bigger than Twitter. Twitter, you have like a 300 character limit. This is like 500 characters or something.
140. And let me tell you something about that. Apparently, it is up to the server to decide how big that is. So, okay, now this is very curious to me, and I don't know how this is going to work. I should have tooted you a 5,000 character toot. I should have, because c.im will allow me to do that.
Holy cow. That's a novella.
Right, exactly. I seriously could. We could just do the whole show notes in toots back and forth, right?
Oof.
So if I sent you a 5,000 character toot, would you get it all in one toot, or would it break it up?
I'm not sure. I would imagine it'd break it up into like 10 toots, but I don't know.
Right. Okay. So I got some homework to do.
Yeah, we'll have to test some of that.
Yeah.
So Mastodon itself is not that old. It's only about 5 years old, and the founder is, help me here, Leo. I'm going to say, Eugen? Eugene?
You know what? I'm going to go with Eugene.
I think Eugen Rochko.
I like it.
Yeah, I think so. I'll put that in the show notes. I think that's how you say that. It's close, though, I do believe. And he was inspired by Identica, which is like, like way back, right? Throw up the Wayback Machine. Was on there with his friends, and he wanted to make a federated revamp of Identica because, he was just didn't care for the way it worked, I guess. And he didn't want to keep switching between different apps and different services to follow the friends. Where are my friends today?
Wasn't this the entire thing we were trying to solve with Matrix? And then when we got into Matrix, it was like, oh, guess what? There's 12 more apps to get.
Exactly.
And half your friends are there and half your friends are here. Yeah.
But like Matrix, when you think about it, right? If you want to join an IRC channel, you can. If you wanted to join somebody over on Gitter, you can do that too. And so I guess that was the sort of thing I think that, was inspired him. We wanted one platform so that he didn't have to keep chasing everybody around on the thing that they're on today. And
right.
And I get that. That is kind of frustrating in some sense. Today you're on Facebook, tomorrow you're on Twitter, then you're on Diaspora, and then, I don't know. I mean, whatever. It's tough to keep up. And so having one decentralized thing that could connect to these other applications and services makes a lot of sense.
Yep. And I think we're going to get into that when we talk about the apps a little bit. I'm not cool enough to have it, but yeah, Dan's got all the things, and I'm starting to think I want all the things too. So I guess we'll see where that goes, but that's the idea, right? Just tie it all together. You get all the things.
Yeah, I think so. It seems pretty cool. So visually, the Mastodon, desktop web page looks very similar to the same way it did in the early days. Like I've seen a couple of screenshots, and I'll try to get some in the show notes. It doesn't look all that much different, but under the hood, a lot has changed. And it's just a web page, but there is a lot under the hood. There's some pretty heavy-duty database things going on and stuff like that. So the thing that ties all of this together is ActivityPub.
Mm-hmm.
So ActivityPub is the standardized open protocol that is used to implement the Federation for all of this. So the Fediverse, or Federated Universe, encompasses all the websites that can communicate over ActivityPub. Other than Mastodon, we got some examples. Pleroma.
Before the show, we were going through each and every one of these and was like, okay, so what is its commercial analog? And of course, we had to get the hardest one. The other ones on this list, we kind of have a really good, yeah, that's what this is. But Pleroma looks identical to Mastodon.
It's similar, really similar.
Yeah, like it had the same, I don't know, I guess it was basically the same look and feel of Twitter. And that's what Mastodon was, I feel like that's what Mastodon's going after.
I think so too,
Microblogging.
Yep, microblogging.
But with C.IM, they give you 5,000 characters, so that's not so micro anymore.
No, that is not micro.
I guess still micro technically.
So then the next one up in the list is Pixelfed. And Pixelfed is a federated image sharing platform.
And this is the one I said looked like Instagram, right?
Instagram maybe, or even there's some other ones too. I'm trying to think.
Hold on. We can start another fight. IMGUR. Do you know that website?
Yeah, Imager.
Okay, Imager.
That's what I'm going to call it. Imager.
It's a J. Just throwing that out there. Just maybe. Anyway,
it could be wrong.
that's really kind of the feel that Pixelfed gives you. You throw an image out there, and people can comment on it, like it, do sharing of it, and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, I do think it's like Imager. I think that's probably the best, closest thing in the commercial world that pairs up to it.
Cool.
So next up is Misskey. And that's a microblogging customizable dashboard, but it kind of looked like a Twitch sort of. That was the one that was like Twitch, right?
So yeah, we were looking at this, and it's got streaming keys and the API to send video and all of this fun stuff. So I don't know if it's just not implemented or very well documented, but it looks like you can stream to this thing. There weren't a whole lot of people on it.
No.
What did we say? Like 10,000 total?
Yeah, it was small number.
Yeah, and it was in the double digits of how many people were online at the time.
Yep.
But it looked like that was kind of the aim of it, where, of course you get your microblog like every other service out there, but the streaming thing just seemed to me to be kind of the thing that, it didn't even really seem like they were really advertising it that way. So maybe it's just not functional.
Well, I will say that not all of my screen was in English, so translating some of that foreign language, and it's not even like German or something I could probably fake by looking at.
Nope.
This was more like Japanese or some Oriental character thing to it.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't fake that.
We could probably put it in Google Translate. We could probably figure it out.
Probably could if it was like plain text, but it was almost like it was a graphic with that wasn't text, and you couldn't, cut and paste that into the translate thing.
Yeah, surely Google has an app for that, right?
Somebody must.
But that's what it looked like. It looked like something that you can blog on, but the streaming aspect of it was really what caught my eye, and I really, I'm going to keep an eye on it.
I wonder if it's like a Vine replacement or something like that, right?
That might be what it is. And my first thought was Periscope.
Okay.
That was the idea, right? I mean, Periscope was all about live video, and underneath that would be everybody doing the comments and all that kind of stuff. I mean, very much what Twitch had turned out to be, but Misskey looked like the look and feel of Periscope, back when, I guess, right around the time that streaming really started to take off. That's what Misskey was about. So maybe Misskey is the better comparison is Periscope, not necessarily Twitch.
Okay. Yeah.
But
if somebody knows, please let us know, because we sure don't.
Yeah, what's the activity Twitch? ActivityPub. What's the ActivityPub Twitch? That's what I want to know.
So PeerTube is kind of close, right? But PeerTube is a video sharing platform, and that is very much like YouTube replacement. Probably
it's in the name.
Yeah, a lot of people have heard of PeerTube, I do believe. Yeah, so if you know what YouTube is, you know what PeerTube is.
That's the idea.
And then the last one is Plume. And Plume is long-form articles, or, kind of, I guess we equated it to Medium. And I think that's probably pretty accurate, news articles or things like that, but in a long form, not your little tweet or toot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is where you would go to write all of your release notes. For any particular release of a distro or something like that. I guess you could use Plume in that way.
Yeah, I guess you could. I don't know. Never really thought of that.
Well, I figure most of the distros have their own website to do their own blog on.
Yeah.
But if you need one,
that's true.
Plume would, I guess, it would be a nice stand-in.
So one of the cool things with joining, getting on Mastodon in particular, is I'll call them security features. I don't really know if they're security features, but kind of cool. You can block, stuff that's not safe for work, or spoilers or trigger warnings, things like that. And you can kind of hide those from your feed, kind of, it blurs them out is what it does. And so if you wanted to see it, like, you want to see that spoiler, you could click on it and see it. But if you didn't want to, it can hide that from your view. So it's a bit of a safety thing, more safety than a security thing.
Yeah, I think in my app it was exactly that way. As you scroll through, you'll see these fully blurred out images, and it'll say, it'll be tagged with whatever it is. So NSFW, spoilers, whatever.
Right. And
if you want to see that thing, just tap on it. Done. That's all there really is to it. And I know that you can go into the settings and say, don't even blur that out. I want to see it, whatever. I know you can do that, but it seems like by default that stuff is blocked blurred by default.
Yeah, blurred by default. That is the default. And the other thing is, so it's kind of a safety catch.
Just in case. Hey, if you like living on the edge, you can always go turn it off. But
there's probably
default,
a way.
Safety first.
Yeah, it's good. I'm liking that. So that's about it in a nutshell. You have these little instances. They all join up into the Fediverse. They're joined with ActivityPub, and you get to join on to these other services in the same app, or at least in my app, I can. I can see all the PeerTube and Pixelfed stuff, and that's kind of nice.
Yeah. So I guess it makes me think. It's got all the things, ActivityPub. It seems to, anyway. And then if you add Matrix into the mix, because it's not on ActivityPub, but if you add that onto the mix, you get an encrypted chat platform.
Mm-hmm.
What does it take to get regular folks onto something like this?
Well, like we mentioned, I think discovery is a bit of a trick. Most of these things are word of mouth. And that's actually encouraged, is word of mouth. And it does make it grow, but I think it only makes it grow to a certain point, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, commercialization puts those things out in the forefront. Like, you see companies like Twitter that were, you know, they were streaming Thursday Night Football. Remember that? They did that?
Right, yeah.
And things like that just put it right in the limelight. Like, everybody's grasping right a hold of those things. I mean, you're never going to see any of these other federated things that are not commercial jump onto something like that.
Well, NBC would never license anything to you if that was the case. So
yeah,
even if they wanted to jump on something like that, I don't think they could.
No, that's a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to take big companies investing in it. It's going to take advertisement that ActivityPub type applications would not really be doing for themselves. Not for lack of trying necessarily, but just simply for lack of funding. I don't think anybody that's working on these projects, anybody has enough money to throw down a bunch of cash to put a commercial during the Super Bowl or during the World Cup or something like that. And then you got to worry about, you know, where's that commercial going to go and how far will this money take us and things like that. So traditional advertising is just out of the picture for something like this.
Right. Yeah, so you're kind of stuck with the word of the mouth sort of thing, or and like I said, that only takes you so far. It doesn't take you, you know, as far as something, you know, getting on TV is kind of the secret with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just where it's at. You see other advertisements for other things, so.
Yep. So do you think ActivityPub and, well, I guess not necessarily just ActivityPub, but these services, Pleroma and Pixelfed and Mastodon and Matrix, would you compare them to Linux as far as the adoption problem goes?
Yeah, I think there's similar struggles there. You might have a better thing, but like it's not as discovered, so people don't necessarily jump on that. But at the same time, you do see people get upset with Twitter and all of the toxic, you know, feeds that, you know, this, you know, political toxic stuff. And so they're looking for another platform to go to. Mastodon might be it. There are people that do migrate that direction. And then you can sort of pick your own. Yeah, I mean, it's like starting over, I guess. It's not even so much that you change platforms. It's that you're starting over. So you're building your network again.
Yeah. I always thought that was kind of a weird argument because on Twitter, I can follow who I want and only pay attention to those particular people. And if they start retweeting or liking a bunch of stuff that I don't necessarily want to see, I can just block those sources. I mean, I get if I'm following 1,000 people and they're all retweeting a bunch of junk that you would never get to the bottom of that. But I don't know. I don't follow that many people, though.
Yeah. Well, the AI still is pushing some of those things that are more popular.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
It pushes those to the top, so you see them. Whereas you don't get that on these other platforms like Mastodon. Mastodon just gives you the chronological.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And for a lot of people, that's nice. I like that. I'd rather have it. Just feed it to me in the way it comes in. I don't need you sorting it for me in the background because I'm capable of doing that myself. You know,
are you though? I think Twitter's pretty smart, Dan.
Yeah, they are.
They might have it all figured out. And you just need to listen to Twitter and do what Twitter tells you to do. Okay?
I'm sure they do. I've watched The Social Dilemma, so I know how it works.
Oh, that movie will change your life, man. Well, I don't know. If you care about privacy at all, that movie will change the way you think about all of this stuff. And I think that's why I'm where I'm at.
Well, and that's why these things exist, is because people like us have watched those things. And, you know, we want to move away from that. So that is the appeal, I think. I think that's the best deal that you can get out of this is you can ditch that AI trying to feed you the information that you think you want to know. Or it thinks you want to know? I don't know.
No, it knows you want to know.
It knows me better than I know me. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the scary thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They know exactly how to sell you something to get the most money extracted out of you. Yeah. Yeah, you don't get that with Mastodon, and I do appreciate that. Though I don't know if I would, because I do Mastodon mostly on a browser that has uBlock Origin on it. Even if they tried to advertise to me, I don't know that it would work that well.
I think it still rearranges the tweets that you see and stuff,
now,
though.
It does do that.
So
they will definitely do that. You can't stop that. That is the algorithm.
Yep.
I hate that word, too.
But it totally is.
It's a bunch of instructions that a bunch of humans put together to sell you stuff really good, and then they gave it off to a machine for it to try to refine that, and it's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, so even if you're not seeing advertisements, you're seeing it in a different fashion than the way it came across.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So if we can figure out how to promote and get ActivityPub things popular, whatever that is, whatever that solution is, that potion, that elixir, you pour that on top of Linux, and I imagine it would work as well, because these are both answers. I guess they're the counterculture answers to the status quo, right?
Exactly. So a lot of people gravitate to Linux because you can customize things and make them a little more secure, and you can do a lot more with it underneath, and you can just use it if you want, but you can also do some other things with it, whereas you can't do that with Windows or Mac OS.
Yep. And honestly, the very first time that I dove into Linux, the reason, the catalyst was it wasn't Windows. It wasn't complex.
Yeah.
Like my answer, my reasoning was not complex. It wasn't anything to do with, I don't like how my data is being used. I don't like none of this. I mean, but also it was, I think, before a lot of that came to the forefront, before people were really thinking about that.
Yeah, same.
But it was so simple. It just wasn't that.
Yeah.
Linux was something else. And I'm like, yep, I want that. Give me that.
Yeah, same here. I was like, whoa, that's different. I want to learn. I want to know what that does. I want to know why and how and all of those things. And that was my draw initially, and like, oh, wow, look, I can customize this. I can make, these icons different. I can different colors over here, whatever. And like, you couldn't do those things. You had white background, windows, then it's like, ugh. So once you could change those things, without getting a third-party software, you could change it.
Right. I do remember before, I think Windows 98, maybe Windows 2000 was the last time they did it, but Microsoft would sell you theming in the Plus package, whatever that was. It was like Windows 95 Plus.
Yep.
And it was like $20 or $30, but you got themes. My favorite theme, I don't know if anybody listened to this podcast ever played on Windows 95, but if you did and you remember Plus, do you remember that one theme that was like a mystery theme? And so when you clicked on something, it wasn't a little hourglass, it was feet. Like
nice.
Like you would see in a mystery novel, right? And they would go back and forth. And whenever you would open stuff up, it was like a creaky door opening up. So you can customize Windows a little bit, but I mean, Linux just opened up the blast doors, and you could do whatever you want, wherever you want. I mean, Plus held nothing up to the customizability, even back then, to Linux. So yeah, Linux is nice.
Exactly. And that was the big draw for me. It's like, I wanted to learn the different thing. Always was seeking out, whatever is different, just to learn it.
Yep.
I've tried a lot of different things. OS2 Warp, I remember trying that.
Oh, yeah. I never got a chance to play a lot with Warp.
Yeah. Anything that would run on a x86, I probably tried it at least once.
Nice. So, Mozilla Watch.
Yeah.
It's time.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's time to talk about Mozilla. Because that's what we do. We just do it, right? I don't know if it rustles your jimmies or not. But Firefox and Mozilla in general is making waves again. And in mid-March, I don't know. Yeah, I'll say mid-March because this podcast comes out when it comes out. And they were at the forefront of the net neutrality conversation again. So a few years ago, net neutrality rules were stripped away, and this is Mozilla sitting down and saying, we need those back. So the basic idea for net neutrality is that it's like water. So think about the water utility, right?
Yep.
whether that's the city or some private entity, if they're giving you water, they don't check off a list of approved things that you can do with that water, right?
Okay.
It comes out of the tap, you fill whatever you want to fill up with it, and you pay for the usage. That's the idea. So net neutrality is the idea that you want to treat the internet that way too. Data is like water. You turn on the tap for your data, and you get your data. The data company, or in this case ISPs, should not care what the data is. The ISP should be relegated to a dumb pipe. That's it.
I get it.
Flow your data, and that's all.
That makes sense. So if I want to go sprinkle, water on my lawn in the middle of the summer during the drought, it doesn't matter. I'm paying for the water. Like, you just keep sending it.
Technically, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, that is the ultimate idea. Now, the comparison really diverges because water is a finite resource.
Sure.
And data, I won't say it's an infinite resource, but it's not finite. I mean, we'll
never
ISPs
reach the end of it. Yeah, I get it.
Right. These pipes, while they can only give you so much at a time, they're not finite in the way that we would think that a lake is finite.
Right.
So in, I think it was 2017 or 2018, a lot of those net neutrality rules were rolled back, which basically means that if the ISP, let's say AT&T, wants to promote its own Uverse or whatever their cable package is, whatever it has a deal with Uverse, AT&T is going to give you that at full throttle. They're not going to, they're basically going to apply net neutrality rules to whatever they feel like. And
Gotcha.
If that is Netflix, if Netflix paid AT&T a few $1,000,000, then AT&T is going to be like, hey, yeah, you can watch 4K uncompressed, whatever. But if Netflix didn't make that deal, then AT&T is going to be like, 720p for you.
Yeah.
So this is what Mozilla is fighting against,
Gotcha.
where AT&T should not be able to say, you get 720p, you get 480p, you get 1080p. It doesn't matter. It's a dumb pipe. Be a dumb pipe. That's what ISPs should be. So I am excited about the prospect of net neutrality rules coming back. And this is what Mozilla is fighting for. So I'm happy about this. I hope it happens.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will.
I don't know either. And I don't know. It seems like it's right up Mozilla's alley, I guess. They've got a couple other initiatives that are right along the same way. So they're trying to make the internet a better place. And it seems to make sense.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's this whole, in the U.S., there's this whole Title II. And by the way, net neutrality is a U.S. thing. I think a lot of countries, actually, you know what? I don't know how other countries handle data. I would hope that they would follow the same idea, that it's a dumb pipe. If I want to block something, I can block something. If I want to throttle something, I can throttle something. But that shouldn't be in the hands of the ISP to decide what's going on. Now, I do tend to agree that ISPs are okay to like block port 443 or 25 for SMTP?
Yeah.
For spam and things like that. I get that. That's why you buy, a droplet to go host your own thing on or whatever. And that's not necessarily a home thing either. Rolling your own email, not really a thing for most home folks either. And you can buy a business package for that and all that. But I guess I could be brought over to the middle ground somewhere in that.
That's more of a safety thing, though.
Exactly. So that, I hope everybody gets that. That's a fantastic thing. Just internet should just be the internet. But Firefox got some other stuff as well. So Firefox 87, which should have already hit your update managers by now, Firefox is trimming HTTP referrers by default.
Yeah, the other thing that Firefox is noted for is security, right? And they're blocking super cookies and stuff like that, right? And so
keep doing it.
This is similar. I don't know if you've been to a discourse page and you wanted to send a link to someone. Like, it puts a little refer thing on the tail end of that.
Right.
Like, it says I sent that to Leo. And so in order to protect the privacy, Firefox is going to start, rewriting and trimming those things off the tail end so that it doesn't know where it came from. And I think this is a great feature, personally, because there's a lot of those sites that have a whole bunch of, it looks like gobbledygook at the end, but like in reality, it's a fingerprint of sorts.
Yep. If you've ever gone to Amazon and you look something up and you're like,
that's
hey,
a good one.
We should get this, and you send them the link that you had in Amazon, that thing's like a page long.
I know.
Yeah. And if you actually look at the link, you'll see the little question mark and you'll see ref, and then all of it is basically a token at the very end, or a fingerprint at the very end, identifying you, how you got there, whether or not you searched for it, whether it was a direct link. All this information is packed into the URL. And this is what Firefox is trimming off.
Yep.
So everybody gets to the same place. The link doesn't change. You're looking at the same, box of kitty litter, whatever it is you're looking up, but it doesn't have all that junk at the end.
Yeah.
And that is a win for privacy.
Yeah,
I
because
love that stuff.
Those things totally tie it back to you. So if I sent you a link like that from Amazon, Amazon now knows that I sent you that link and you're interested in that too. And now it's going to start sending me stuff that you're interested in. Like it's back to that AI, algorithm thing. And if we can avoid that, that'd be great. And I think, trimming that off at the end, that's a fantastic move.
I agree. So I feel like this Mozilla Watch has been a fairly good one. This is all good stuff.
These are great things.
So if you've been thinking about Firefox, you've been on the edge. This is
I see what you did
extra
there.
Ammo. Right? Yeah. That was it. That was it. So maybe come over to the fireside.
Yeah.
I just keep coming up with them, man. They just keep coming out. I don't know how to stop it. So the last thing we've been up to, or that I've been up to, I couldn't convince Dan to do it. His LXQT is just too near and dear to his heart.
Right here.
Was Gnome 40. And I don't blame him, because it's not like there's a whole lot of choices as to where you can get Gnome 40 right now anyway. So what is there? There's Gnome Spin that you're supposed to use in a VM that I think is supposed to work now on bare metal as well. I forget what that's called. There is Fedora Beta, but you've got to be on a beta of Fedora. And when that released, if I'm not mistaken, Gnome 40 was still in release candidate status. So it wasn't fully baked either.
I think by the time of this recording, though, I think it might have finally landed. The official one might have finally landed into the beta of Fedora.
So I know Dan and I were looking for it. So a week ago, we were, I guess by the time you hear this, 2 weeks ago, we were looking for where Gnome 40 was. And so it looked like Fedora 34 was going to come out with Gnome 40. So that, of course, I'm a Fedora guy. I mean, as far as if I were to ever leave the Debians, it would straight to Fedora. No question. So Fedora's always on my mind. I saw Gnome 40 coming out. And so I'm like, so there's a beta, right? And there actually was a beta. We knew it existed, but Dan and I were looking, and it was horrible to try to find a link to this. And I think eventually we did. Both of us ended up finding a link.
Well, we were like 12 hours too early or something like that, because like the next the next day there's an announcement. Grab it here.
FedoraMagazine.org. Thanks. We were just a few hours too early. But so I had the 24, I don't know, the hours old version of it. I don't know if there was any difference between that one and what Fedora Magazine posted, but
probably not.
Either way, I got it installed. For some reason, my laptop just didn't like it on Ventoy, so I put it on a regular flash drive like an animal.
Oh man.
And got it fired up. But I got to say, Gnome 40, there are a few good points about it, but let me be blunt right at the very beginning. 3.38 to 40 feels like it would be such a huge, titanic, monstrous move. It's not. It's Gnome. It would be what Gnome 3.40 would be. They just changed the numbering scheme.
Right.
And I know this is me reading into it. They'd never said any of this, but it's the feeling I get when I see big numbers like that, I guess.
I guess.
So it's a normal release. Don't expect anything else out of this.
I don't know. What about those horizontal workspaces and stuff, though?
So that's some stuff that I think I really kind of got used to. Workspaces have always been horizontal to me.
Okay.
They've always been that way. When I log into Plasma or when I log into Mate or any of these other distros, isn't it Control-Alt-Right and Control-Alt-Left that will get you?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, so I mean, they've always, at least in my mind, they've always been horizontal. So when Gnome gave the vertical thing, and, I get it, like it was when you hit the start, not the start button, the super key.
Yeah.
When you hit that key, they were vertical in the activities.
Yes, the overview, the activities overview.
Right. So honestly, I feel like horizontal should have been where they started from the beginning. And so the change was, I think it was unneeded pain.
Okay.
That you got people used to vertical, and now you kind of, you swapped them back to horizontal. But maybe that's just my brain thing. But I enjoyed the horizontal workspaces mostly because, and I've heard plenty of people say, I don't like the horizontal workspaces because, and right, I'm not them. I don't have 8 monitors.
Right.
I don't do anything special. This is run fully on a laptop the whole entire time. I did hook it up to an external monitor a couple times, but it wasn't in a, left monitor, right monitor kind of situation. It was, I just want it to be bigger. Plug it in, mirror. I'm good. That's all I need. So I'm certainly not that use case that would find a lot of issues with horizontal workspaces like that. But
yeah, so I have 2 monitors, and they're one on each side, and so yeah, they're horizontal, and I don't know, mind blown. If you were to try to do, workspace switching on the horizontal for me, because they go vertical in my desktop.
I see. So would it work? So imagine with me for a minute. Would it work if the left monitor was workspace 1 and the right monitor was workspace 2, and when you swiped over, it's now 3 on the left and 4 on the right?
Yeah, and I guess that could work too, as long as you did a clean sweep and moved right over. I guess you could do it that way.
Okay, so I don't know if that's a solution to anybody, because like I said, I'm not this use case. This is me just spitballing, but yeah, I feel like that would work if I were doing 2 monitors. And
me switching workspaces, though, I just used the little scroll wheel right in the empty spot on my desktop. And that'll flip. That'll flip a workspace.
Yeah, on my main Mint desktop, I have a hot corner.
Oh, that works
it just
too.
Displays all the workspaces, and I go to the one I want. So left and right and up and down mean nothing to me.
That's a good point.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh yeah, this is where all my audio stuff is. Show me the workspaces, that one.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm just not the guy to do a review of workspaces. I do them differently, I guess.
No.
The other thing is the 3-finger stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned a lot that 3-finger stuff does not work in X.
Okay.
That is huge. I went to X because I use OBS and Peak, and for some reason, Wayland's still having trouble with that. I don't think it's a just me thing, but OBS gives me some like weird. If you can think of like an echo of an image,
like a little ghosting or something.
Basically, yeah. When Windows, like a window in Windows, would freeze up, and you could like drag it everywhere, and it would leave that. OBS did that.
Okay.
And when I went to X, it didn't do that.
So
yeah, that seems to me that Wayland still has a little bit way to go to get all the screen recording and stuff like that done. But that, I think, was really the only thing that I ran into Wayland wise that I didn't like. But I did run into an old friend of mine, purple. Now, I like purple. My headphones are purple. There's a lot of things in my life that are purple. What doesn't need to be purple are links that I did not click.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this one. I tweeted about this too. I mean, this is a long-standing issue. I think it is an Intel, a Mesa thing. It's a Mesa thing because it happens on both my AMD graphics card and an Intel-only stack. But I did find out something else. It's it's X only.
Okay.
So when I go to Wayland, colors are perfect. When I go to X, anything in Chromium just gets a little bit of red added to it. So if you're looking at a pure blue, that blue looks purple in Chromium. And that is annoying because you go to like the Fedora Reddit or the Fedora magazine website, everything is supposed to be blue, right?
Yeah, I would think
no,
so.
It's purple.
No, geez.
Not in these Chromiums on X on Mesa. I know it's a very specific case, I guess. And I know Paul in Matrix, in our Matrix channel, was helping me out with that. He helped me find a Launchpad bug report pertaining to Ubuntu that said that most desktops or X would default to 15-bit color, 16-bit color, and that might be the reason. But I went through everything that I could find to make that work, but I couldn't get it to work. But that's not a Fedora problem. It's an X on Mesa problem. So it transcends Fedora. So it's not a Fedora or a GNOME issue. Just it reared its ugly head again, and it reminded me how much I dislike that.
Yeah.
But Wayland fixes that. So once Wayland gets OBS...
It's getting closer. It's getting closer.
So close. I'm ready for it. I am so ready for Wayland to be the only display manager, or not display manager, what do you call...
Display server.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That. When Wayland is the only one I have to care about, I'll be so happy.
I think we all will.
Yeah. It'll be so good. So the other thing, the last thing about GNOME 40, I think that I really enjoyed was the 3-finger stuff. We kind of touched on it a little bit with the workspaces. So swiping left and right using 3 fingers on a trackpad is beautiful. I love it. I'm not a very big workspace person in general. I don't use them day to day. I use them when there's like a million things going on and I'm trying to not distract myself. But just having that really kind of introduces the idea that maybe you should use them more often. You know, the full screening of things is way easier to deal with when you can just easy whoop, whoop.
Well, and that makes sense. If you make it easy to use and you put it right there, you know, where you don't have to hunt around for things. I think it'll get more use, right? I think that's a good call.
Everything. Yeah. The easier it is to hop on it and use it day to day. And the other thing is so swiping left and right will move your workspaces. Swiping up 3 fingers once will get you the equivalent of pushing the super key, which is the activities overview.
Nice.
And that's fantastic because you can get easily to your workspaces and you can launch some of your favorite apps. So the little launcher bar thing. Yeah, that shows up. And if you do it again while you're in the activity overview, you get all your apps.
Okay.
So I'm mostly okay with all of this, but they moved the bar. So it used to be on the left.
Yep.
Now it's on the bottom.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fine for someone that is 3 fingers swiping up because your mouse could totally be there at the bottom, 3 finger swipe up. Your mouse is ready to go to launch an app or, you can get it ready and it can be a fluid motion. But if you're on a desktop, there are a couple of ways to do it. If you're using a super key, fluid motion again. Right? You can already have your mouse primed to be where it needs to be to do whatever you want to do. But if you use, and I suppose you would because GNOME puts it there as a default. If you use the little hot area up there, you just corner. Slam your mouse to the top left. That feels so, what's the word? Unnatural.
Yeah, out of place, right?
Right. Because before you could do the hot corner and slide your mouse down and you're right there.
You were right where you needed to be.
Exactly. But now it's on the other end of the universe, it feels like. Because 1440p, that's a lot of mouse movement to go from top to bottom.
Yeah.
So that...
well, maybe if you move that hot corner down to one of the bottom sides?
Well, see, now you're getting into a can of worms there because that requires an extension.
Oh. Well, and you can't have extensions. No, you can't have extensions. Got a new version of GNOME that extensions are not, no, that's not allowed. You can't have extensions. You have to wait for the extensions to get released for the new version of GNOME.
Right. And while they are working on a rebooted initiative to make extensions, I feel like maybe it's to make them longer lived, to be able to go from one version to another without totally just blowing everything up and it's just broken. I know they're working on that.
Yeah.
It is not implemented yet, so we still have those rough edges to work out. And
yeah, for being such a requirement, it's kind of an afterthought.
Right? So if you want extensions, you got to go install extensions. But that's in FlatHub. And FlatHub is not enabled in Fedora by default. So you have to go enable that first. So you have to enable FlatHub, then you have to install extensions, and then you can start installing extensions, except for you can't because they're not ready for GNOME 40 yet. And then, so assuming they are ready.
They will be probably soon. Yeah.
They will be, but you got to go through all of that pain,
I know.
I feel like, to get there. The thing about that is that that's not the only thing that you should use, because I had to bring in the minimize button. I can't stand there not being a minimize button. I don't need the make it big button. That's fine. You can leave it off. I don't care. But the minimize button is important to me, so I had to go put it on, but I couldn't do that through extensions. I had to do that through Tweaks. But Tweaks is not available in FlatHub.
No.
It's in the repo.
Oh, geez.
So you get extensions in the repo, or I'm sorry, you get tweaks in the repo. Yeah. And you get extensions in FlatHub, and then you can really get to the point where you're tweaking your desktop the way that you like it. So I really like GNOME 40. I enjoy the 3-finger swiping, but if it's not the way you want it, vanilla, you're going to fight an uphill battle for at least a little while longer to really get it the way that you want.
Gotcha.
But I will say, GNOME 40 overall, honestly, the minimize thing was probably the only thing that I changed. And if I were to go get an extension, it would just be one to put the bottom bar over there to the left, my favorites. That way my mouse didn't have to move so much to click them. But really, other than that, I enjoyed it. It's faster. That's the biggest thing that I like about it. It's faster on my laptop, and my laptop is not the fastest thing in the world. The only kind of stuttering in the animations that I get anymore is doing the activities overview.
Okay.
It feels a little chunky, like the animations feel a little chunky when I hit that maybe like the third or fourth time. You would think it would be the other way around.
Yeah, the first time.
Chunky the first time.
Yeah, then get better after that. No, not.
Yeah, never does. It's just it's chunky. That's just the way that it is.
I get it.
But overall, I really enjoyed it.
That's cool.
I might not leave. We're not putting distros for a while. We're not putting them through their paces. So Fedora might just stay on this laptop.
Well, there you go.
For a while. So we'll see how that goes.
Sounds good. All right, real briefly, I just want to touch base on a couple of feedback items. One thing we got in the Telegram group was Appimage Launcher. And I know Eric Adams has done a video on this, and I'll link that in the show notes. And so what that does for you, that's like we found Bao. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think we were pronouncing it wrong before.
Bao.
Yeah,
I think, okay.
I think.
Now I'm second guessing myself again, but I'm pretty sure I saw it.
Yes.
It was Bao.
Bao. I believe that's how you say it. Yes, Bao.
Okay.
And so we use that to launch app images and all the other snaps and whatever. Appimage Launcher will do that for you, but it just does app images. So
right,
it's a pretty great thing. And like I said, I'll link to the YouTube video that Eric did. Fantastic stuff. Make it easy. Another brief follow-up is from Matrix, mentioning the Maui apps in Plasma Mobile. And Dan Johansson from the Manjaro Arm project said that Manjaro Arm has a lot of those Maui apps installed right out of the gate. So if you want Station and you want Index and all those other great things, check out Manjaro Arm. That's pretty good stuff. You know, my favorite thing about that is that's what I was saying. That's the place for it. That's it. Right. Exactly. So if we could get like a Pinebook Pro with Manjaro Arm on it, get those apps on it, then we get a Pine phone and get Manjaro on it and get all those apps on it. Yeah. Then it's just one cohesive experience. Yeah. And I mean, if you don't have the advertising, and well, we know these projects don't, you got to lead with the good stuff. And hey, that's sounding like good stuff to me. It is. And I actually just saw an announcement that the Pinebook Pro, they're doing another release there, and they've got a new pricing. So check it out.
Yes. All right.
Housekeeping.
Time to fluff pillow.
Yeah. Got lots of fluffy pillow on this one.
Pillow fight.
Yeah. All right. So as we've mentioned, season 1 is ending with this episode right here that we're recording right now.
Dry your tears.
It's
we'll
okay.
be back.
It's okay.
It's in the plan.
We need to take a little break and regroup, and so that we can come back better than ever for season 2 in the summer. So because we're doing that, we're also going to pause our Patreon during that time. So if you're patrons, just hang on. We're just going to pause your contribution after this episode releases, and you won't get dinged again until, we turn it back on when we release again this summer.
Look, let me put it this way. We're paying you to hang out for a while.
Absolutely.
You can have your money back for a little bit. And then, if we're still on your podcast list, if we're still somebody you like listening to, then it'll just kick right back up as soon as we start issuing episodes again. We don't want to take your money unless we're giving you something in return.
Absolutely. And we do appreciate all of you. So, thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. The Linux community has some fantastic members, and we want to make sure to highlight that. Our showcase this episode has 9 to 5 Linux. Marius Nestor does an amazing job curating the Linux current events. I give it a 10 out of 10 and highly recommend.
I don't know how he does it. He's a machine.
Oh.
A machine. Like, go to the website. Go to 9to5linux.com and check it out, and you will see everything. Like, anything that has happened. It's already there.
I think I got notifications during the show.
Yeah. Dude doesn't sleep and just churning and churn. All the news. I've stopped worrying too much about where the news comes from because it's really just all there.
Yeah. It's fantastic. It's my go-to. I read that on a daily for sure. So feel free to send your emails to contact@linuxuserspace.show, and we can have a discussion about them on the show in, a future episode, a little while down the road.
Hey, this is the time where we stock up.
Yeah, we
will. If you just want a whole feedback episode, you just need to go ahead and send us that email. So it's the time. Let's load up.
Please follow us on Twitter @LinuxUserspace to get all the latest announcements for the show and highlights for things that impact your user space. And hopefully, we'll have a couple of little, we're going to throw out a couple little nuggets during our break. And just little short ones just to let you know what's going on.
That's something that I plan on. I mean, because for the show, I think there's a lot of time that goes into putting the show together and all that stuff. And you get less time to do other stuff. And that other stuff includes the Twitter. So, I think that's going to be where the focus is while we're not sitting here talking into a microphone. We can tap into an app and send you little nuggets that way.
You can also join our Telegram group and join the conversation there. We'll still continue to be there even during our break.
Yep.
And then you can hop into our Matrix channel and join the chat over there as well. And I will say that the room is growing at a real nice rate.
It already stomped all over Discord as far as how many people we have in there. So this is it. This is the counterculture thing. It's how you got to do it. You got to join the Matrix channel, and then you can be cool like the cool kids.
I mean, you can still join Discord if that's your jam. I mean, I'll put the link down there in the show notes because we still have that. But Matrix is pretty awesome.
Well, one thing that we don't have in Matrix that I think you can do, I'm not positive, is the easy to navigate voice channels. That, if you really don't get enough of us, you can rope one of us in there and we can just have a chat about whatever in Discord sometime.
Absolutely. And lastly, don't forget to rate this podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast application and like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. You can always get more information on our website, linuxuserspace.show. Focus app.
This is Mastodon Focus, where we focus on the Mastodon. Because most of the show has been about Mastodon. Why don't we just talk about Mastodon some more? A little app, ActivityPub, something or another.
Big giant animal to focus on, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do we do it? I think that's the main question. I know Dan and I both use the web app a lot. I think
That's my preferred method, honestly.
yeah, I use for Matrix as well.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do use the Element app on my phone when I'm away, but I mean for Matrix it's Element on the web, and for Mastodon, yeah, it's on the web as well. So our main app is that, but that's not what you're here for. You're here for an app. We're doing a double app.
It's two
because we couldn't
apps.
decide.
It's not just one
Yeah.
app. It's two. Two for the price
So-
of one.
Exactly. We're going on break. We couldn't leave you with just one app. We're going to give you two. So for those of you that are using iOS,
Yeah,
Tootle.
those guys.
yeah. Tootle, Tootle. Joe mentioned on the, 2 episodes ago where you got to be careful. It's the elephant.
Yeah.
It's an elephant.
It's
So
a
look up
Mastodon.
Tootle on the App Store. It's an elephant. It's colorful. It's like green. Let me see. Yeah. It's like a blue to green to yellow gradient from left to right.
Okay.
You can't miss it. But that's what it is. It's the Mastodon Twitter app thing for your phone. That's all it is. That's what it is. So when you download it and install it and log into your instance,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to see exactly what you expect to see. Same thing that you see in home, local, federated, blah, blah, blah. That stuff, it's there. Now, I will say, and I know, Dan, you ran into this too, where I couldn't figure out. Okay, so here was the deal. I was frustrated, and I was asking Dan, where do I find, like, the normal feed?
Yeah, he's looking for his home feed. Yeah.
I just wanted, like, I'm following these people. I want to see that stuff. I don't want to see the stuff from local.
And
That's
I'm like,
not really that important to me.
What are you talking about? It's right there. You just hit the home
Right.
button.
And it's not federated because that's like, whoa, that's a lot of stuff, and I don't want half that. So I'm looking and I can't find it, and then I go to the web app and it says, oh yeah, what you want is home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, it is what I want. And then I realized that Tootle has all the stuff at the bottom, right? Federated, local, all that stuff. It scrolls horizontally. There's so much stuff down there, you can't fit it.
It's like his horizontal workspace. He just couldn't figure it out.
That's what it was. It's because I'm not used to workspaces. That's why. So I scroll horizontally to the left, and there it is, home. So I click it. It's exactly what I wanted. So I thought it didn't do what I wanted. It totally does what I want. I'm just too blind to see it, or I don't know. Maybe there's just too many icons down there. You
There's
can
a lot of
change that.
icons. It is a lot to scroll through. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I think what I might do is get rid of the federated one,
Mhm.
because that's just like, it's like drinking from a water hose,
Oh,
a fire hose.
it's the
It's
fire
just way
hose.
too much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to undo that, and then it'll make room for home so I don't have to scroll anymore.
There you go.
But that's one of the cool things about the app is that you can customize that bar down there to have only what you care about. If all you want is home and DMs, man, uncheck all the other stuff. You don't need it. So that is something that's really cool about this app. And contrary to a lot of the iOS, Apple ecosystem, everything is like $3.99. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not this one.
Nice.
This one is free. So if you're just getting started on Mastodon, you don't know what you want, you're on iOS, I think Tootle is a really good starting app.
Okay.
And then, if you decide you want different features or you know what you want, then you can move on from that after that. But I mean, honestly, I haven't moved away. It seems to be right up my alley. I'm simple. I'm going to uncheck all those boxes just so I can simple. That's all I want.
Well, I will say, though, I think I almost talked Leo into getting an Android phone just so he could use
Almost.
Fedilab, which is the app I'm using. And here's why. Because, like, when I scroll over and it's on the top on mine, when I scroll over all the way over to the right, I get the PeerTube stuff, and I've got the Pixelfed stuff, and I can wander through those Fediverse connected things on my phone, which is cool. And Leo kind of thought he wanted that. So I think he's going to trade his iPhone in.
It's so cool. I don't know if I'm quite to the trading in part yet, but if there's an app like Fedilab on iOS, I want that.
Yeah.
That is what I want, because we were talking about making it easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that makes it easy.
Yep.
I just thought, I mean, I know that ActivityPub, it's got all these things and hooks and whatever, and you can do stuff, but I didn't know that there was one app to rule them all. I didn't know that you could do PeerTube and Pixelfed and Mastodon and all Plume, all of that in one thing. What?
Yeah,
that's cool.
It does. It has, and so PeerTube has a, if you have favorites in your PeerTube, you can just search those. And so this app is pretty good. It combines all the things that you could possibly ever want into one app, and yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So all the stuff that Tootle does and way more, because you get all of the ActivityPub stuff. Next time, we'll be a little further out than you're used to. So stay tuned on Twitter, Telegram, Matrix, Discord, whatever, however you get your stuff from us. Hang out there. And we'll be there. We'll continue to talk and banter. And what we're really doing is scraping up ideas for season 2. So throw out any kind of idea you've got, and we'll, at the very least, we'll consider it. So join the conversation. Thank you, everybody, for listening and for your support. Dan, where can I find you?
You can find me at KC2BZ at mastodon.technology.
Ooh, and you can find me at leo.c.im. No, I messed that up. You can find me at leo@c.im. I'll get the hang of this Mastodon thing one of these days.
That's the shortest one to remember.
That's it. You can find me there. So join us in the summer when we return to the Linux user space.
What? Where's OBS?
Oh no!
I did not close that, but it closed.
Worst case.
It totally closed.
Oh no!
It really did.
Oh no! So I wonder
when it did that, because I did not see it.
Well, if you didn't change the video format, if it's still in MKV, you have whatever it recorded.
Yeah, I just don't know when it ended.
So, you know what? Here's what we could do. We could... Hey, you know that little thing that used to go on air in the way back in the day when, like, the broadcast ended for the day? That little had, like, that Native American guy, and there's, like, a cross and circles and, like, measurements on the screen and stuff. I remember that from old movies that were, like, back in the day. This is how it happened. So, what I'm thinking is, if the video exists, even, like, 10 minutes of it, we can put that out and then just put the image of that and just as the audio continues on.
Yeah, where did it go? Why do I not have it?
No, we don't have anything.
I don't think I have anything.
No.
I think we're going with this.
All right.
I'm going to figure out the spectralizer thing, and I'm going to run your audio through that.
All right. Cool. So that will be fun.
That stinks because I know I had it going. I did kind of move it to the background, though.
I mean, if you hit the record button, I don't know. That's funny.
It's funny, but it's not.
Well, it's funny because you can't do anything about it now, Dan.
Nope. We did a whole show.
It's too late.
We did a whole show. Whole entire thing.
Poof. Hey,
it
wouldn't be a season finale without something.
Should have went in that folder.
Check your regular home folder. Maybe it decided to just dump stuff there.
Would have filled that sucker up.
Oh.
No. Way too much free space for that to happen.
Oh, wow.
Not in my home folder, anyway. Yeah, home folder.
How much you got? How much free space you got?
Left? Like 35 gig.
What?
35 gig. That's what I got left in my home folder.
The video would have fit. I don't think it
you think so?
It's like a gig an hour or something like that. Maybe. Okay, maybe like a gig every 30 minutes. But
yeah, but I put it on this other drive. It's a spinning drive. It's 3 terabyte drive.
I
got lots of space over there. It's not an NVMe though. My main disk is an NVMe, so it's only 240 gig.
Right. I don't know. It should have. It would have been okay because like a gig an hour or 2 gigs an hour is a spinning disk could handle that.
Yeah.
So I wonder
doing
what
an audio
happened.
recording though too.
Maybe that had something to do with it.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. That's what we get for not testing, Dan.
I swear it started to record and it went for a while. I know it did, but let me look at that folder again. Should have went into this folder, right here, and there is some stuff in it. Let me change that to details, modified. No, none of those are new. Huh. Well, dang.
Oh well.
Oh, wait a minute.
And
what do we got here? Oh, geez. I might not have done an MKV.
Oh.
Wonder if it'll play. Looks like an MP4.
I don't know. I don't know how that works because I've had it crash on me, but it's always been MKV, and it would.
I could have swore.
Actually, you know what? I should probably stop playing with stuff. I'm gonna break my own audio.
Well, it shows a 1.4 gigabyte file.
I mean, worst case scenario, chuck that up in Google Drive. Maybe we can figure something out with it.
Maybe I can throw it in another tool.
Yeah, throw it in Kden or something like that.
Live or something, maybe.
What's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to tell you no.
It's going to say, yeah, that's not really a valid format.
Right, and we'll be in the same boat we're already in. So Either way, it'll be fine. I'm not worried about it.
So it did record something. I wasn't dreaming that. It did record.
Yeah.
Wonder why it died.
I have no idea.
Because it went for a long time.
I mean, for 1.4 gigs, yeah. I mean, honestly, it probably went to the very end.
It must have recorded the whole darn thing. Huh. Well, that stinks. I'll figure it out.
Oh, well.
Anyway,
well,
cool.
Honestly, I won't probably need to ask Jerk for anything because this is what's going in the front and the back.
Right?
Yep. This is it. I grabbed it anyway just in case there were any bits that I forgot about. But yeah, I think our tribulations will be a good spot.
Yeah, I guess so. All right.
I think so.
Let me...
All right, ready to stop it?
Let's stop.